Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Square Circle Maniacs Pro Wrestling Podcast. My name is Johnny Bottles. To my left is Dr. Don Wayne, the neckbeard psychologist from Twitter. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. You love to secretly hate him online if you're a neckbeard. There's a lot going on, a lot to talk about. We had a big PLE last night. Money in the Bank is in the tank. We've got another one tonight for NXT, and there was a little show on last night called Collision, Don. We'll talk about that later, too. The super chats are open. If you want to throw a couple bucks up, pause for the cause, if you will, as Stone Cold Steve Austin would say, that'd be fantastic. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. It don't cost nothing. And give us a little ring-a-ling with the ding-a-ling down below so you know when we're going to have one of these surprise podcasts popping up like this one tonight at 6 o'clock. But we had to talk about Money in the Bank. Don's got a lot to say. Let's vent, baby. Let's vent.
Well, we got a lot of venting to get to, of course, but we've also got some things. The fallout for the PLE was one thing it's kind of embarrassing from a wrestling standpoint as far as a fan. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but as you can see right here, look in my eyes. What do you see? A main event for Drew and me. The way this was done was surprising and expected all at once. You know what I mean? Like that's sort of the narrative of this whole thing. We talked about it last night or a couple nights ago. I thought that the main event was going to be the IC match. They surprised everybody. They threw curveballs everywhere. They really did. Sure. They didn't announce what the matches were until it was time to go. They started off with the Money in the Bank men's match, leading off the whole thing, which gave you a premonition, and maybe it's just me, that whoever won this thing was going to be cashing it in tonight. Because last year they waited and they waited and they waited until WrestleMania to cash it in. And it was Damian Priest, your current world champion, that cashed it in and won. So you had a feeling they weren't going to sit on this forever again. They were going to sit on this for another year. I had the feeling something in this PLE was going to be big. They were going to try to keep some angles going, build for SummerSlam, and I wasn't disappointed. This ladder match with the men, you've been high on Andrade a lot more than I have. You were high on him in the other company. I wasn't really big on him. He's not a particularly large guy. I will say he had a hell of a match. To me, the guy that really showed we could do in this match was Carmelo Hayes. And I'm going to get into some of the shit they did, but from your overall view of this whole thing, what did you think of the opening ladder match just as a whole before we get into some of the details?
I enjoyed it. Andrade and Carmelo, like you said, were excellent. They surprised me. They really did. I never saw Andrade in a ladder match before, but here you go. We got right into it. You knew Drew was winning. He said he was going to win it on Raw, and he was going to cash in the same night and become the World Heavyweight Champion. Well, he did win the ladder match, and he was Mr. Money in the Bank for 2024. Gable had a good showing. I think it was a waste of Gable.
Christ.
I think it was a waste of Gable and his talents, but he was there to accentuate the action of the match. And it was nonstop action. I mean, I used to bitch about guys like laying outside the ring, waiting for their spot, their time to come in, taking a breather. But it was incredible. Just nonstop action, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I did enjoy it. I've seen better, but this was very, very good.
I was terrified they were going to give this to Jey Uso. You thought it was going to go to Jey Uso as well. We both thought Jey Uso was going to win this thing because we both thought CM Punk was going to screw Drew McIntyre out of this match from the very beginling.
A tip off the ladder.
Surprise, mother suckers. They did it in reverse order, and I want to talk about why they did it and why it makes sense. Well, when we get to it.
Yes.
Chad Gable put himself out there. The bump he took off the top, hanging on to the damn briefcase, I don't care if I never see that again. Never do that again. He fell straight to his face. He could have broke his back. It was horrible. you can take that bump if you land on your legs or somebody semi-catches you. But that shit, dude, when he did that, I was like, no, don't ever do that shit again, ever. I didn't like that bump myself. What did you think about that specific spot? Because that ladder don't give, bro, and neither does that ring, but so much. And I didn't like him going face first.
I saw him hanging by that briefcase, by that hook. I'm thinking, don't tell me he's going to jump down from there. Don't tell me he's going to jump down from there. So I was going to get a ladder and put it up there for him. But no, he fell down from there. But he did it the correct way. He didn't take it on his back. He took it face front with his arms and legs spread out like a cat, basically, to take the brunt of the fall. Although his knee almost sore from that.
I almost feel like it would have been better off, though, if he'd have been trying to do a flat back bump from that height. The way he landed looked just totally uber F. I didn't like it, man.
I'm sure he thought about that. If he would have taken a flat back bump, he could have run the risk of slightly turning and separating a shoulder. You know, not something he would do, or dislocating his back, popping out a disc, a vertebrae, if you will. A crack in his sacroiliac.
Just that shit had me scared.
Or a shattered taint, Don. A shattered taint. That could have happened to him.
The Drew segment in this whole thing was pretty good. He powerbombed Gable, as you saw. Chad Gable has been great. That's what I wrote. Drew powerbombs Chad onto the ladder. You get that every time, and it scares me every time I see it. Scares me every time I see it. It really does. Thank you all for watching. Super chats are open. We are here. Been chatting with some people on Twitter today, so thank you guys for joining. I know it's Sunday, so I just want to say thank you all very much real quick.
Didn't Andrade get power bombed on a ladder or thrown down back first through a ladder?
I think he went. Well, that was the end. We're going to get to that because that was that holy shit bump.
Yeah,
that's what I was like. Okay, that's some shit there.
His back is jacked up, wound wise. He showed that on Twitter today. He's all sliced up.
Yeah, I saw it during the match. I pointed out to my son. I said, look at his back. He's got a nice gash back there. That's going to bleed like a stuck pig when this thing is all over with at the rate they're going. I wrote a couple more notes down onto this thing. Uso and LA get rid of Drew. The yeah and yeet ladder spot. I wasn't a big fan of that.
No.
Jay, so here it is, right? So Carmelo Hayes got that little spiel where he was popping everybody in the ring, right? When he came off the top rope onto Jey Uso was just complete trash. I'm sorry, man. This is why I've been sort of down on Jey Uso. He comes off the top rope, Carmelo Hayes does, with his leg over Jey Uso, and he whiff kicks him in the back of the head because Jay's completely out of position and not ready to take it, or he just doesn't want to take it. Takes it to the back of the head and just sort of lollipop guild flops out of the ring. It just looked like complete shit. And I'm like, Carmelo Hayes is putting on a show, and Jey Uso has got boo-boo face to get it look like to me. I'm over the Jey Uso thing, man. I'm
over the Jey Uso thing, too. It's the same match every time you see the man. Punch, kick, splash in the corner, punch, super kick, splash off the top rope.
You forgot.
The same old bullshit.
No, you forgot. You forgot the spit in the hand punch.
Oh, the spit in the hand. I left that out.
Got to remember that.
Happens halfway through the sequence. The spit in the palm of the hand, clock the guy, and then jump up on the top turnbuckle and do the flying splash. But he's a one-trick pony. I feel like they're biding his time until the reformation of the original Bloodline. They're biding his time. He's in a holding pattern. They might give him a belt. Who knows? But I can't see it. He might get a partner go and take the tag belts from the Judgment Day eventually down the line. But in this match, I would say it's not a case of Uso being out of position as Carmelo Hayes moving too fast.
Then they better get their ass in gear. Get your ass in gear, because that set of moves, everybody should have been where they were. Jay was slow getting up, and I'll watch it again to make sure today I wasn't out of my mind. Jay was slow getting up. He was slow getting into position. He looked like he didn't want to take the bump because it was putting over another guy. I'm sorry. Jey Uso is not over in this house. His entrances, everything else about him is not. And I'm so glad he didn't win this damn thing, quite frankly. And you're right. It's starting to feel like he's in a placeholder meeting until they reunite the original family.
It's just like with another guy we're going to talk about, the heavyweight champ in the world. He's a placeholder right now.
We're going to talk
He's a
about
placeholder. Yes.
But
everybody, please like, give us a subscribe if you're just tuning in. This is a special show. The chat room is starting to get a little lit up. We've got we got a big 26 people watching right now, and it's only going to get higher. It's only going to get higher, Don.
Look, it's a
as
Sunday.
I'm going to get when I'm watching NXT Heat Wave. That's the one tonight.
It's Sunday. Thank you all for joining us. So I wanted to cover this real quick before it became old news come later this week. Yes. The suplex on LA Knight by Chad Gable over the top rope onto the suplex was a hell of a spot, Bottles. I was like, damn, This guy, Chad Gable, is absolutely fantastic.
He's the real deal.
Drew threw the ladder at the son of a bitches up on top of the ladder trying to get the thing. I thought
that
was a great spot. Great spot.
I've never seen that done. Look at effing javelin. I've never seen that done before.
Just eat the ladder. Drew goes up and wins it, pulls it down. There were some other high spots in here. I was high on this match. I was high on this. I thought it was tremendous. I was entertained. The guys all worked their ass off. Round of applause. I enjoyed the shit out of it. What did you think?
I think it was great. I before we started this segment, I said I thought it was fantastic. I've seen better, but this was great. A lot of new stars were made. A lot of new stars. I think people are going to take another look at Carmelo Hayes, a less critical look at the man's work. He's small of stature, but his talent is huge. His talent's huge.
Well, I want to say this too, because people came unglued because Drew won the thing, right? They were just like, oh my God, you could have made somebody else. It's part of the story. It's part of the story, as you're going to see later. I'm sorry, but the wrestling internet community, the IWC, they want instant gratification if everything isn't done the way that they think it should be done. And it comes off as a bunch of crybaby bitches. I had an idea for how I would have done it. I'm not mad at them for having their own ideas. I was entertained. And by the way, you don't want the Money in the Bank going to an LA Knight so he can cash it in on the U.S. title. The Money in the Bank should be reserved for heavyweight or world champions. That's what it's made for, to get that next wrestler over, to give him that next major push to get into the main event category. It's not made for mid-card people. It never has been. They've used it a couple times in that regard. It was a waste of time, and it sucked.
I remember Damian Sandow. Damian Sandow, perfect example. He was a Mrs. Stunt Double at the time, and he's the guy who won Money in the Bank that year. And they burned right through it, an episode of Raw where he lost his cash in to John Cena. I think he might have been the only guy or the first guy who lost in the cash in. But it was ridiculous. They're threading a needle. They're threading a story needle. And they need all the thread they've got to weave this in and out until you get the SummerSlam, where it's going to be allegedly a three-way of McIntyre, Punk, and Rollins. They want SummerSlam to rival WrestleMania every year. That's what TKO Sports wants. In fact, next year is going to be 2 nights, just like WrestleMania. So they need a big, big main event. They're going to have 2 big main events.
3 or 4. They're going to have a super card. We're going to talk about that at the end of this because you and I have heard the same thing. I want to talk about that when this is all said and done. You then get to Sami and what? Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You get this. Sami and Bron are next, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bron Breaker new entrance, by the way, I was high on that. I thought that was great. I noticed it right away. It had a big time superstar feel to it, right? And I don't want to drag this match review out. I don't think there's a whole lot to chant on this thing. Bron saved Sami a couple of times on some moves in this match. I don't know if you saw them or you paid attention to them, but there were a couple of times in this match where the move where Sami goes to the top rope and bounces off of it and flips to the outside, Bron had to run under him because he would have just missed him completely. He was just way short on that move. And this is something I want to talk about. We are both not the biggest fans of Sami Zayn right now, right? He needs to go away for a little while, learn a little bit of a new move. He's been around for a while, and that's fine. I think he's in a good spot right here. I don't detest him. I just, he's been here for a long time. I like him. He does a good job, right? This whole lead up, he got me involved with. I enjoyed it. He's got to realize he's almost 40 years old now, not 29.
He's very Mick Foley-esque or Mick Foley-ish, however you want to characterize it. He reminds me of Mick Foley, a more athletic Mick Foley, with the presentation, the beard, the hair, and all that bullshit. That's what it looks like to me. Sami he's a great tag team wrestler. I think he should go away for a while after he loses the Intercontinental title and come back as a tag team wrestler with Kevin Owens or anybody on that roster, on the Raw roster, because Owens is on SmackDown. That's what I feel. That's his ceiling. He's got a good mind for the business. If you talk to anybody backstage, he takes the matches to a granular level, and he's just a pain in the ass. Well, what are we going to do when we come out of that headlock? Oh, we'll call it in the ring, Sami. Well, I was thinking, remember what I said? I'll come off the top rope, and then you catch me and pile drive me. What if I did? Come on, Sami. I'm trying to eat my fish here in catering. Leave me alone. That's what he does to people. He's just a pain in the ass. But he loves the craft of professional wrestling. Can't fault the guy there. You're right, Don. Take a few months off, come back with a fresh coat of paint, and possibly a shave and a haircut. Trim that freaking beard
shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Denisha says,
I saw Doritos. I saw Nacho Doritos coming out of that beard when he was wrestling Bron Breaker. I'm
Denisha
done.
Denisha, thank you for the super chat contribution. Thanks, Don, for talking the truth on the IWC on Drew and Punk. Keep up the hard work. You'd think people would know that it's storyline for SummerSlam. And that's the part, Bottles. I was watching it all day. Coming unglued, number one, that Drew McIntyre won the thing. Coming unglued about it. Who are you going to give that to? Like I said, you can't give it to LA Knight to cash in on the U.S. title. That's not going to work. I have been saying this now for 8 months. LA Knight is a big-time mid-card talent. He is not on that level yet. He doesn't cut those long promos yet. He comes out there, he gives you a really good 2-minute promo, and he's gone. He doesn't have that yet. I like LA Knight. I'm not saying anything negative about LA Knight. He is a top mid-card talent right now, and he is going to be facing the U.S. title champion. He's going to be winning that title. I fully believe he is, because he's going to get rewarded. I'm not saying why do I keep forgetting his name? The U.S. title, help me out real quick. I keep forgetting it.
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul is never going to be in the works for a world heavyweight or even a WWE championship. He's a great mid-card draw. That's what he is. He's not there yet. Okay, let me rephrase that.
They might do that as a stunt.
He's not there now. He's not going to be there in a year. He's going to need a lot more time. He can piss people off, but he's got to really dedicate himself to this full time. You cannot have the Money in the Bank winner be a mid-card talent guy going for a mid-card belt. It just doesn't work. And I saw that argument all day on Twitter, and it's crazy. He's not there yet. He's on his way as far as LA Knight goes. He gets a big reaction. I get that. But he is not on that level. Put it to you this way, Bottles. WrestleMania right now. Do you want to see Roman Reigns fighting for the title or LA Knight?
Against Cody Rhodes.
It doesn't matter. I don't
whoever's
even
the champ at the time. Whoever's
don't
the
even
champ
care.
at the time. I'd rather see Roman Reigns.
He's the biggest star, and he hasn't been on TV now in months because the storyline, here's a hit, the storyline is making Roman Reigns the biggest baby face in the company right now.
Yes, it is.
He hasn't done a goddamn thing, and he's the biggest star in the company. I believe when we get to WrestleMania, you might see something with CM Punk and Drew for the world title, but we'll get to that in a minute. Because I don't think this thing blows off in 1 month, pal. I really don't. I think we might have one of the longest rivalries we've seen in a while.
Well, you've got Rollins in the mix, too.
I know, and I'm going to get to that.
Rollins was mad last night. He was mad last night.
He's got a legitimate bitch.
Yes.
But anyway, back to the Sami Bron Breaker match, right? Look, they told a great story. And if you've been watching wrestling long enough, you understood the story that they were telling, right? You understood the story they were telling. It was the young bull who's clearly more physically dominant, who can manhandle the champion, was getting outsmarted throughout the match. Even the commenters mentioned a couple of times, oh, he didn't hit the steps this time. You can tell Bron Breaker's learning from his mistakes. That was the story I was getting as they were laying it down out there. Sami was getting the shit kicked out of him, but he recognized movesets and he got out of the way right in time. He outsmarted Bron. He didn't out-physical Bron. That's how I took this match. Again, I saw someone today comparing Bron Breakker to Brock Lesnar. Folks, let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy. Yes. Brock Lesnar is 6'4", 280 pounds. He's a monster of a man. He's a humongous human being. You expect Brock Lesnar to smash everybody when he started. Bron Breakker is a really physical guy that is in a good spot, and this does not hurt him because he's going to say, yes, you outsmarted me. I'll be better next time.
I've seen it described as the second coming of Goldberg, the second coming of Brock Lesnar, wasted by not winning that title belt from Sami Zayn. Now, look, we talked on the phone earlier today. Sometimes in professional wrestling, like it is in any business, sometimes people's egos get into the way. And how do you know if someone's not a little full of himself backstage? And so he wasn't booked to win the match because he might be a little full of himself in real life. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just spitballing here. There might be other extenuating circumstances involved in this. Maybe they've got a three-way coming up with Breakker and Sami and another guy for the title. Ilya Dragunov, maybe. Who knows?
I've got a feeling. I mean, Sami won. He outsmarted him. He didn't outman to handle him. I've got a feeling that we might have a four-way or something heading into SummerSlam. I don't know yet. I just sort of get that feeling that we're headed in that sort of direction.
Well, Ludwig Kaiser hurt himself with Raw a couple weeks ago. So I think he was geared up for a three-way spot in this conglomeration of wrestlers. I think maybe it might have been penciled in Sami and Kaiser and Bron, but Kaiser got hurt. So it was just a one-on-one competition. Maybe in SummerSlam, Kaiser will be the guy who takes the pin in the match for Bron Breakker, and he becomes the Intercontinental Champion.
I'm just saying it doesn't hurt Bron because he's going to be pissed. He's going to be madder than ever. He's going to come out tomorrow night beating the shit out of people because he's going to be so mad that he got outsmarted. That's how I feel like this is going. I didn't hate the finish. I know there's a lot of people that are high on Bron Breakker. I happen to like Bron Breakker. I don't see Bron Breakker as Brock Lesnar. Let's calm down. He's not 6'4", 280 pounds. He's just not.
Although when Lesnar comes back, that would be a hell of a match to see. I would be seated and pumped up for that match to see Breakker versus Lesnar. They build it up correctly, and I have faith in Triple H and that writing team that they will do a great job with that.
I guarantee you they could do a great job with it. I really agree.
Because Lesnar's coming back.
Yeah, eventually, yeah. He's going to
eventually, yes. Yes.
The next part of this was John Cena came out for his segment, and he announced his retirement tour in 2025. Okay.
Yes.
There was a time in wrestling where you built up an angle if a guy was going to leave, if he was going to retire. He went on to clarify in the press conference, by the way, that WrestleMania would not be his last match. It would just be his last WrestleMania match. So I feel like that's sort of where I had some of my questions answered, because immediately in the aftermath of that, my immediate thought was, why would you not have a retirement match angle out of this with a guy like Bron Breakker, who's so pissed off you could have some shit going down with him? But I still feel like there's something you could do here now that he's announced. This is not his retirement match at WrestleMania. He will have a few more matches throughout the year. I think his schedule cleared up. He wanted to do this. He wanted to have a farewell tour to give all the fans a chance to say goodbye. I don't know why he felt like this was the time to do it myself.
Title number 17?
No, not a chance. I don't see that.
You don't think so?
No, I just don't.
They don't want to break the Flair record of 16 time.
I just think that, he's not here long enough anymore. And he's leaving it. He's announced it now. Like, if you try to make it to where he gets this title now, it's going to be shoving it down people's throats. You know what I'm saying? And they're just not going to want that.
I got you. Let's see. What is this? John Cena versus Uncle Howdy.
No, God, no. We're not doing that.
SummerSlam.
No,
Book it.
No. Honestly, as soon as he said it, I was thinking, please, God, let him build something with Bron Breakker. Let that be the way that this goes. Because I think that could be a good match. John Cena would slow the kid down enough to where he would have a good match at WrestleMania, break him in the right way, That's just sort of how I saw it. And there's ways you could do it leading into it to where, I don't know, John Cena and Bron Breakker are 4 of the last guys in the ring, and Cena eliminates Bron. And then they go to the Elimination Chamber, and Cena pins Bron there in his last attempt to get the title. And that sends Bron over the edge and comes back to screw him out of his shot. So I don't know, just sort of some of the things I was thinking about. My head's spinning here, Bottles. My head's spinning. But, I mean, I tip of the hat to John Cena. God bless him. He's had a hell of a career. And the question came out last night. Who would you put on your Mount Rushmore of just WWE wrestlers? Who would be on yours? Hogan.
You've got to have Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and The Undertaker.
I think it's John Cena and The Undertaker. I think it's John Cena and The Undertaker. I think it is. Just because The Rock hasn't been consecutive in the company. When he shows up, it's a big deal, but then he's gone in 3 months. He comes around every 5 to 8 years, and then he's gone for another 5 to 8 years.
He was one of the biggest stars of the Attitude Era.
He wasn't there long, Bottles. Go back and look it up. You'll be surprised.
I know he wasn't there long. But everyone in the world knows The Rock. The most recognized celebrity in the world, Dwayne Johnson.
He is for his movies, though, not his wrestling. I'm just saying. I appreciate it, though. You think The Rock. I think it's going to be Cena. That's just me. Next, we had Priest versus Rollins. I thought we were over calling him Seth freaking Rollins, by the way. I thought we were over that shit, and it came right out, and I was like, here we go again. We're doing it again.
Same old shit. It's the same old bullshit. The same song, the same crazy outfits. Seth freaking Rollins, when he comes out on Raw, I am a revolutionary. I am a visionary. I am
a dirt strangler.
Pause. Dirt strangler. Pause. Hot pocket time. I'm out the door. I hate it. Can't stand it. I don't
the
like
entrance
Seth
is
Rollins.
over. The entrance
He's
is over.
He's a heel. He's a great heel. I don't see him as a face. I see him as a heel. I think they forced him into being a face, a pseudo face, because his wife was a face. His wife's beloved by the WWE fans. So, I mean, and they all know they're married. And it's been mentioned on the air that they're married. So I think they're obligated to make him a face. I don't freaking know. I don't make the rules. I don't write this shit. But how do you feel about that?
I like the entrance. He doesn't bother me. He's really over with the crowd. He can wrestle. I get his gimmick because it's a little bit out there. But he can wrestle, man. He can go. But here's what I wrote about this. This match was missing at parts. Like, it was like they were, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with Damian Priest. I don't know if he was concussed. I don't know if he didn't know when the cue was going to happen for Drew McIntyre to come out. I didn't know if it was part of the story. But he kept looking down the aisle like he was expecting Drew McIntyre to come down at any moment. He just kept looking down there. I don't know what he was looking for. I don't get it. Denisha has a question. She's given us enough money. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here. Don and Bottles, I have a question. I have heard about Bad Blood coming in October, and the women are getting new titles. Yes.
That's going to happen.
We're going to talk about that in just a moment. I saw the same thing. I'm going to talk about it after this, which I've got bad things to say about that. I've got bad things to say about Bad Blood. They
also re-registered New Blood Rising as a PLE name. New Blood Rising. That was a WCW pay-per-view
video game, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think that might be used. That might be used for NXT. If I'm not,
it might be.
Spitballing.
Look, this match felt like it was missing. It slowed down in parts, which I was like, you can't slow down, man. You got to keep it up. You are in a fucking car wreck right now. You had a car wreck of a match to open the show.
Are you impressed with any of Damian Priest matches? Can you name one? Say that was a great match. That was fantastic.
Not since after WrestleMania. I can't. Yeah. We have been harping on this since we gave him time too. How's he going to be in this new role? And about June, late May, early June, we started saying this ain't looking so good. This ain't looking good. It ain't fitting the bill. It don't sound right. It don't feel right. The kick sequence, I said, what's going on here? If you remember that, they sort of did this weird kick sequence where they both kicked at the same time, and Drew no-sold the shit out of it and fucking Rollins was like, okay, I guess I'll sell. And just everything got out of sorts. And then it happened. The part that everybody's talking about. The 3 count that should have happened and didn't. And the ref should have counted 3. And I hate this shit. The ref should never be told how it's going to go down except for the finish. That's all the ref should be told is the finish.
And you know what, Don? If the ref would have counted 3, that match with Seth Rollins would have been over. McIntyre still could have came out. McIntyre still could have come out, cashed in on Damian Priest, roughed him up, and then still Punk could come in and interfere, as we all know happened. We saw it. And you still could have salvaged the entire thing. Instead, now everyone's talking about, oh, he effed up, he botched, he didn't kick out. They still could have done the angle of a cash-in. It didn't have to be a 3-way match. It could have been another match started, a cash-in with Priest versus McIntyre.
Well, what or
Rollins versus Rollins versus McIntyre. Yeah.
And then Priest could have rolled his ass out of the ring and done whatever else because he didn't kick out. And I saw a million excuses for this shit, okay? It was, well, he was waiting on the music cue to kick out, or the ref wasn't supposed to count 3. You kick out if you think it's going awry. If you were going to have the music play, that should have happened the minute they did that started going for the pin. It's what I've read. He was supposed to kick out. He didn't kick out. This shit ain't working. It's not been working. They've got to get away from Priest, and they got to put that title on somebody else at SummerSlam. And I think we all know who it's going to go to. The ring general is going to finally get crowned officially with a huge title. Because that dude in the ring, on the mic, I believe everything that guy says. I believe everything that guy says.
So do I. In fact, when he goes on a diatribe about how the other guy's inferior as an opponent, they don't stack up to him, I believe it completely. I believe it completely. Triple H at the press conference afterwards did this long diatribe about Damian Priest and how everybody's hard on Damian Priest.
I saw.
Human beings in a ring, mistakes happen, things happen. It is what it is. It's funny for me now looking at that. If that was something I was involved in as a talent, I don't care how good the rest of it was. That would be all I think about. And to me, it's a shame because that's all people will talk about. And that's all people will hit Damian Priest with while he had a phenomenal performance tonight. You may say so. But a bunch of people will attack that, criticize that, comment on that. I don't know why. That's just a negative. So outweighs the positive sometimes. And the last thing I'll say about this is, and to me, I wish I could just go in the back, shut off his phone, have no one talk to him for a while, and just have him think about all the other great stuff that happened in that and the role he's been on and how great of a job he's done as world champion.
And that's the kiss of death. That means come SummerSlam, buddy, that shit's gone.
He's done.
So out comes CM Punk at the end of this match. Surprise, motherfuckers. Out comes CM Punk. Starts wailing on Drew McIntyre right away, kicking the shit out of him. And this is what CM Punk has said over and over again. While I am in this company, you will never have the heavyweight championship. He didn't say I was going to screw you out of a shot at getting one. He just said, as long as I'm in this company, you're not going to win it. And that's what he did. He came out and he screwed him over again. Again. He's a man of his word. He keeps telling the fans, why do you listen to this idiot? He's full of himself. I'm going to keep being me. I loved it. I didn't see this coming, quite frankly. I was like, when he came out with the briefcase, I thought, well, shit, Drew McIntyre is going to win this thing, and they're going to have a match at SummerSlam for the title. It furthered the storyline.
Yes,
CM Punk, for the first time that I can remember seeing, picked up the heavyweight championship, whacked Drew with it, and then had it sitting on his waist like you were looking at the next champion. That's how it felt to me, a foretelling of what he had his eye on. He has his eye on that world championship title. Then you saw Priest get the official 1, 2, 3 because the ref could actually count this time, and Seth Rollins was pissed. They cut to Seth Rollins, and he's going apeshit. I don't even think he's so mad at Drew as much as he is at Punk now, which is sort of awesome because they do have a history. This carried the story beyond just Drew and CM Punk. It also sets up the next chapter after CM Punk with Drew. And like I said, I don't know that this thing ends at SummerSlam for Drew and Punk. This might carry into the Rumble all the way to WrestleMania if you do this right. Because I just don't feel like the blow-off is going to be SummerSlam to me personally. I don't feel like that. And then after this was all said and done, there was a big brouhaha with McIntyre interrupting the post-show, throwing shit around the stage, mad as hell. The Raw GM comes up behind him, and he elbows the shit out of him in the face, and now he's suspended indefinitely. Please say your piece, because I thought it was grand.
I thought it was fantastic. Just the way it all came together. Rollins was out of the heavyweight title picture. He was out of the hated when CM Punk deal because he got hurt. He was off TV. He finally comes back. The feud with Punk is just reconnected itself. He's back in the title hunt. Priest is not long for this world. How about the matches that we're going to get when Gunther takes that title? Gunther McIntyre, Gunther Punk, Gunther Rollins. Think of the plethora.
I know, man.
Of matchups, even 3 ways, 4 ways, possibly. Get into the future with Gunther as the heavyweight champ. And what happens when Lesnar comes back? Will he be on Raw? Will he be on SmackDown? You know he's going to go after a title.
It sets up to where it's not even the matches I think about. It's the storyline that I feel like these guys can tell, especially with CM Punk coming down on him. You barely even speak English. What are you going to do with this microphone, son? Like, I could see him getting raw with them. I'm looking forward to where this is going. Even though this took a humongous shit on the non-3 count, it was still my favorite part of this show, even counting, like I said, the hiccups on the way. I enjoyed it. That's all I got to say.
He blew the 3 count. It happens. He botched. Hey, here's another aside. Hey, they really don't hit each other. Hey, it's all fake. Hey, the kicks don't land all the time. Yes. But sometimes they go and they have a sandwich afterwards and a drink together after they get done fighting in a blood feud. It happens. It's a produced show.
CM Punk was eating fucking muffins. That's what he was eating. Yes.
They
weren't. I mean, hey, he was getting them. The women's Money in the Bank match was next. My notes are so scribbled because of the botching and the death stunts that were taking place throughout this whole thing. The first major "what the hell are you doing" moment that I have was Zoe coming over the top rope to land on Io Sky or whoever it was. I think it was Io. And then absolutely missing her and racking her head on the side of the ladder. And I thought, oh my God, what are you doing, Zoe Stark?
She's lucky she didn't break her neck. I would say this makes a great case her last month and a half on televised WWE matches that Zoe Stark should go back to NXT for a week or two, have a refresher course down there at the Performance Center. She's I don't know what the deal is. I remember the infamous Ivy Nile match on Raw where they just stood there and whiffed kicks back and forth.
Oh, it was horrible.
Like, it was horrible. And that wasn't just on Ivy Nile. That was on Zoe Stark because she sold the whiffed kicks instead of putting her hands up to catch the leg or whatever. The next, let's whiff it. Let's sell it again. Let's sell it again. Missed her by a foot. And she hold her face. Zoe Stark, the Zoe Stark experiment is not working out.
It's not working right now.
Not working out at all.
But she sold her ass off and tried to kill herself later in this match. I'll give her credit.
Nearly broke her neck on that ladder.
My God.
Why? You could see, I mean, you're sitting there just like I was, Don. Did you say to yourself, she's going to do a swanton or whatever off this top turnbuckle?
I really
did.
This
chick on the ladder, but the ladder is too close to the turnbuckle.
Yes. And then that's not what happened at all, where Io Sky, I don't know what the hell you call the move, just absolutely crushes her onto this thing. I don't even know what the move was. It was a bunch of bodies falling in a clump of hate and dreadfulness, and then out she falls from the ring, and Io Sky looks broken in half on the other side. The visual was fucking tremendous. I was like, they're dead. Someone get an ambulance. They're dead.
By God, she's broken in half. Io Sky's got a family.
It was crazy as shit. The other part of this that I took note on was Io Sky. Io Sky had a lot of spots in this thing, by the way, if you didn't notice. Like look, she's a small girl. I was afraid she was going to break a couple times. Io Sky kicking the shit out of Valkyria when she was hanging upside down on the ladder. We've talked about this before. Some of those kicks look real, right? We've always said, how does Drew McIntyre not, potato somebody? Dude, them were live rounds Valkyria was taking in the dome. Just bitch, 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 bitch. I can hear it every time.
Well, you remember that Lyra beat her as a Money in the Bank qualifying match. She beat her in that. So, as she was pissed off, wrecked the dressing room, the whole 9 yards. So maybe that's continuity in the storytelling, Don.
There was the other spot where Tiffany absolutely planted Naomi at one point, and then she did that awesome swanton outside of the ring. I thought that was tremendous. Chelsea Green being afraid to climb the ladder was comical and good at the same time, because she took, at the end of this whole thing, she took that spot, that big ass dump off the ladder, through 2 tables outside of the ring. The bump was insane. Just, oh shit, I'm going to die. I tipped my hat off. The girls had a lot of botches going on in this thing, but they made up for it by trying to literally kill themselves.
That ladder tipped on with Chelsea on it, and I said, there's no fucking way she's doing this. There's no fucking way she's doing this. She's going to abort and hit the top rope. Wow. She went right through. I didn't even see the table set up. Someone set those 2 tables up. I never even saw it.
Because this was a car wreck from start to finish. I have never seen the women's ladder match take this kind of a what the hell moment after another. It just didn't stop. Jesus, dude.
Unbelievable.
Anyway, it's Tiffy time. She won the whole thing. She's a star, and here she comes. Get out of her way. She's on fire. You cannot stop this chick right now. She is on a comet right now, ascending.
What did you think of the little back and forth in the interview spot backstage with Stratus?
Yeah, I thought it was
Stratus
great.
versus Tiffy? Trish versus Tiffy? Is that coming up?
It feels like it, like maybe a little SummerSlam moment. I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this, man. The thing is that the botches, this had more botches than any other match, and they made up for it by almost fucking killing themselves. Have I said that? Jesus. I just wrote down, this was my entire note. This was my entire note on the Io Sky and Zoe Stark moment. Jesus, Io and Zoe, what the are y'all doing? That was my entire note. I didn't write the move or anything, just bodies crumpled to the floor. It reminded me of that song. Let the bodies hit the floor.
Zoe Stark is, I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's legally blind like Stan Hansen. She's got to wear contacts or thick glasses in real life. She can't see what's going on. She can't see 3 feet in front of her when she's wrestling.
She's got.
I don't know, but I don't know what's going on there. But she needs something, not to take crazy chances, and she needs a refresher course
on how to actually wrestle and sell,
dude.
So here we go.
Sells. She just go ahead. What?
Sorry about that, Bottles.
You're breaking a sweat there, pal.
Little warm, pal. Getting a little worked up on my end.
All the hate's coming out of you.
The 6-man tag or the 6-man match happened last. And I wrote this as soon as they came out. The crowd just watched 3 car wrecks in one match. They're down. You cannot have a regular wrestling match go on last when you have that kind of shit going on before. You cannot do it. I have heard it from the all-time greats talk about this. If you're going to have that kind of a match go on, it's got to go on last because no one else can top whatever just happened. You cannot top that shit, dude. I'm sorry. You just saw a chick fall 30 feet through 2 tables and live to tell about it. You cannot top this. And again, this was a good professional wrestling match. Nothing about it was embarrassing. They did some good moves. They had some great spots. Jacob Fatu is a freaking star. Holy shit. More of that, please. Him coming off the top rope out to the outside through the table. Mwah! Beautiful moment.
He's great. Simone Werewolf. He's going
is.
to be a huge star in the WWE. But I wouldn't have had this match on last because even though the work was great, the angle, the bloodline thing was great. If you didn't have anything big that was going to happen outside of a botch in this match, in this 6-man match, why put it on last? Why? Why wouldn't you have Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins with the cash in and Punk steals it from him as the very last thing that happens on the show? That's what everybody was talking about on this show. No one was talking about the bloodline match outside of the width. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes.
There's a couple of notes I got on this, right? Somebody needs to pay that ref a little bit more money. Someone needs to give the referee a little bit more money. That sumbitch is dead. He took 2 huge shots. The one he took from Jacob Fatu straight into the stairs, dude, I don't give a shit how much you're working. That's a 230-pound man running straight at your head. That bitch said,
somebody call the damn paramedics. Michael Cole screamed out. Michael Cole's starting to morph into a northern Jim Ross, not a southern.
It's amazing what happens when you don't have a pervert screaming in your ear the whole time. I said shit on his head. God damn it.
Great.
But like every other match in this thing, after the first men's match, it seemed like every match had a botch, and this one was no different. And one of the Bloodline members punched Kevin Owens square in the taint. Punched him square in the taint. Missed the nut shot completely. Punched him in the taint.
Uppercut right to the taint.
And then went back for seconds and punched his cousin in the head. At the same time, he was also trying to re-rack his nut shot.
This is a cell phone video. This is not actual WWE footage. This is a cell phone video.
Let's hope we don't get hit for this.
I better mute it just to be on the safe side.
I definitely mute it, yes.
Yes.
Here it is.
Here it is in action. Shot to the taint, and he follows through. He punched his cousin right in the head, or his brother right in the head. So it's a double banger. Right in the bean bag and hit his buddy in the head.
Oh, God. Again, it's just one of those deals where every match after the men's opening ladder match seemed to have a major screw-up, man. And they couldn't stop doing it. It's like when you're falling down a hill and you can't pick yourself up and stop. It's going to go faster and get worse. Just let it happen. Just let your arms go free. Let your arms and legs go free and go full pinwheel on that bitch. This was full pinwheel. But the biggest result of this whole thing was Cody Rhodes was pinned clean in the middle of the ring.
Clean as a sheet by Solo Sikoa.
The
new tribal chief, Don.
So we all know where this is going. This has sort of been the hint that that's going to be the SummerSlam main event.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be curious how they
build
big
surprise, Don. We're waiting for a big surprise. No one came in. No Jimmy. I thought for sure Jimmy was coming back.
I feel like that's going to be saved for SummerSlam. I just do. Like something's going to happen at SummerSlam where all of the Bloodline members come out and start jumping Cody. And here comes Jay. And here comes Jimmy. And then here comes Roman Reigns to stop them from beating up on Cody. Because he told them, he's mine. I will come back and handle that. So to me, that's what it feels like it's headed to. I'll be curious where Monday Night Raw goes. I'm looking forward to watching that. I don't know about you.
I've got some matches already set up.
I did see that. The GM was talking about that. We're going to have a mixed tag match with Damian Priest.
Zelina Vega.
Yeah.
Zelina Vega, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. You're also going to have Strowman and the Awesome Truth in a 6-man versus the Judgment Day. And then you're going to have the rehash of Drew McIntyre being suspended.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And how do you move past a show that had some botches in it that people are going to be talking about, are going to remember? You immediately start talking about the next show. That's how you wipe the slate clean. I thought this was a good job by WWE. Hey, this didn't go over well. We need to move on to this real quick. And speaking of not going over well, the press conference after the show. The press conference after the show. Okay. We have discussed the Vince McMahon sexual predator allegations on this show at length and in depth. Go back. We did it previously back in January when it broke. We talked about it several times since then. So I'm not going to dwell on this. How do I put this?
Bottom feeders.
These bottom feeding jackwagon wannabe stars that show up at every one of these press conferences and ask about the trial case and about the lawsuit every time. And the answer has remained the same every time since this has come up. I'm not allowed to talk about it. This is under legal precedent. I'm not allowed to say anything about it. And they keep trying to be in a gotcha moment. You're not coming off as anything other than petty at this point in time. You're not going to get anything out of them. All you're doing is making yourself look like a clown. If you really want to get some answers, try to interrogate Vince McMahon's lawyer or the legal teams. You're not going to get anything out of the guy planning the matches on the back end of this thing. And we've said this, Johnny. They will have their day in court. Right now, these are all allegations. True or false, they're allegations. You are innocent until proven guilty in this country at every trial. But this country right now and these fans love to hang a son of a bitch out to dry without knowing any of the facts and having it presented in a court case. He's also under federal investigation, he being Vince McMahon. They are going to have their day in court. This is going to be settled one way or the other. Let it play out. Why are they still harping on this shit, man? I don't understand this. Cena said, I will answer all your questions about my retirement. Said it in the ring before he went back there. And they still tried to do the shit.
They should have asked Cena, was it really Hulk Hogan under that Mr. America mask when he took that lie detector test? Or was it Danny Spivey subbing for Hulk Hogan in that Mr. America mask? Who was it? And for that matter, was it Hector Guerrero as Lasertron, or was it another Guerrero brother altogether? That's what they could have asked him. Something just stupid like that to go along with the stupid question they asked. It was ridiculous. And they're just because they do this in these press conferences to try to get over and to have people talk about it and try to drive traffic to their website of WrestleNomics. And
I'm not even going to mention. I'm not even going to mention
post wrestling.
Not going to give them any damn mentions. I'm not. Because you're in front of a billion-dollar corporation's head. And this is the horse shit you want to come around with. You could have asked serious questions. And I hope like hell they're not invited back because I thought that was some cheap shit. That's just me. They could have asked about it.
They probably won't be, pal. They probably won't be.
Well, I hope the hell they don't. So screw those guys. You could have been serious about it. And I get it. If you really want to do real journalism, start investigating. Start calling people. Start digging into it. People that used to work there. This was a cheap look at me moment. Anybody that's ever actually had to do a report on anything knows how you have to start from the ground up. We all know what's been alleged. And they just keep throwing these lob balls over there. What do you think about it, Triple H? All right, moving on. I'm not going to give any more time. There is a story that came out today that they're going to introduce new women's belts.
Yes.
I don't like anything about this, Johnny Bottles. There's just not enough good women's wrestlers to have this many belts. I feel like they have the perfect amount right now. If you're going to get rid of some, get rid of the women's tag team belts. But they're talking about having a women's U.S. title and a women's intercontinental title. And I want no part of any of that. No part of that. I don't know about you personally.
Why not? I mean, I don't want to see it deteriorate into AEW where everybody's got a fucking belt. But why not? Who cares? Just let them have it. Let them have their moment in the sun with the U.S. title and a female intercontinental title because they've got a glut of women in NXT that are all great wrestlers, and they're going to be coming up soon. And they got to have belts to throw around. In fact, I would look at that roster down there and I would wager you've got more female active competitors on NXT than you do in men. I haven't looked at the roster to see who's actually on TV regularly to track it, but it just seems like there's more women wrestling in NXT and wrestling well. I know you don't watch the show. From time to time you do when something big is going to happen. Like you'll probably watch it tonight while you're, having a couple chilled tumblers of vodka and water.
I don't know right now. I might be watching a couple of sports moments I got to watch tonight. I'm very curious about. So we'll go from there. Woke up this morning, Johnny, and I watched Formula One. That's where I am today. Okay, that's where I am.
Gotcha. A little Formula One, maybe later on tonight. A little World's Best Demolition Derby Rex. You'll put that on from ESPN2. You'll watch that, and you'll watch on the Top Gear somebody changing their oil instead of watching NXT.
I heard a great quote today, by the way. You're going to dig this. Guy said, "So what's your plan coming into this race?" He said, "Well, I plan to push this pedal down and not take it off till I see Jesus Christ with a checkered flag." I thought that shit was great.
Love it.
I got one last moment of what the hell to talk about here. And that's AEW also had a show last night.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about this?
If they had a show and no one watched, was it still a show?
Oh, people watched.
Consider it a show? People
watched. And I want to talk about this because this is what was said. All I saw yesterday on Twitter was, I'm not watching that Money in the Bank shit. Real wrestling graps are on tonight. AEW's on tonight. Y'all watch that fake shit all you want. You guys can check it out all you want. I'm not watching that shit. The overnight Fast Nationals came in. 275,000 people reported on the Fast Nationals. 60% of their Dynamite audience didn't tune in last night. MJF on their own program said, Will Ospreay is impressed with making people like Dave Meltzer give him high ratings. I'm more interested in a guy named Nielsen's ratings. Did you hear that? Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even MJF, for all of the fans in AEW that think the ratings don't matter, your biggest star is even saying, hey, we got to do better in one category, and it ain't what Dave Meltzer says. 275,000 people watch this show with a 0.0 in the demographic. 0.0.
0.0 in the demo?
In the 18 to 34 demo. Zero.
Don, that's their demo.
That's what they claim. They countered the WWE's program last night by bringing back Dildo Baggins. That was their big claim to fame. They bring back Dildo Baggins.
Marco Stunt, everybody. Ain't he great?
Dildo Baggins. Dildo Baggins from here forth.
And he wrestled Jack Perry. And they weren't that different in size.
I don't care. I didn't watch a second of it. I'm not going to. I just saw the clips on Twitter and said, I don't ever need to watch this show again. Officially. I never need to watch this again. It's hot garbage. I have no interest in this. By the way, thank you all for watching tonight on a Sunday night. Please like and subscribe if you haven't before. If you're new here, let us know. Say something in the shout outs. I am going to copyright Dildo Baggins. I came up with that. I'm very much enamored with that name.
Yes, I see Vivid Media is going to put out a Lord of the Ring.
Lord of the Cock Ring.
Yeah, Lord of the Cock Ring. How'd you know what it was called? It's right there. Lord of the Cock Ring. Yeah.
Oh my
Vivid
God.
Media.
I just 275,000 people tuned into this. I can't believe it. And there's already talk.
They don't even have the core audience. It's not even the entire core audience watching that show.
Which is weird, right? You would think the diehards that swear, people watch this show. I had a guy again try to tell me that millions of people across the world watch AEW on a weekly basis. I had this happen again. I said, they don't even have 1 million freaking followers on Twitter. How are you going to tell me they got millions of viewers?
Here's an example. When over in Great Britain on TNT Sports, I believe it's on in Great Britain, they only have like 30,000 people watching the show over there. It's over in Great Britain. It's not look, I hate to say it, all you neckbeards out there, but you've got the hottest wrestling product in the world. Just had a show last night, a live show from Toronto, up against the coldest and getting colder as we speak wrestling company in the world. It is the dirt worst. Ice cold mud is what it is. They're in the mud, and that mud's freezing over. It's starting to get a permafrost over top of it. And when that happens, There's no coming back. You'd have to change the name of the company. You'd have to gut the company, get rid of all the dregs, and try to sign new stars. I'm not talking about Chopsaki Tanaka from New Japan Pro Wrestling or whatever their names are. I'm talking about try to hire some big stars, and you're just not doing it. Ricochet, when he comes in, he's not a big star. He can't go. Can he go under the name Ricochet? I think he leased that name to WWE. So, yeah, I think he can go as Ricochet because he was Ricochet on the Indies. So, yeah, it could be a Jade Cargill thing, like coming in underneath the same name. Ricochet's not your answer.
I think that's her real name, though, isn't it? That's her real name.
Jade Cargill, yes.
Yes.
Ricochet's not the answer. I think Ricochet's real name, his first name is Trevor something or other.
Trevor Simeon.
Trevor Martin. I don't know what his name is, but it's just you've got to do something, Tony. You got to do something. You've got 2 writers there in-house from WWE. If you're letting them write anything at all, it seems like you are. You're actually booking cards in advance. We'll know on Monday what the Dynamite lineup's going to be. We saw a few teasers on Twitter of what some matches on Dynamite's going to be. So maybe they'll have the full card listed tomorrow, which they would never do. You would see it Wednesday morning, if not Wednesday afternoon, who's going to be on Dynamite and what matches and what appearances. So they're getting there, but after 5 years, going on 6 now, I don't see it getting any better, Don. They've lost the goodwill of the people. They lost the goodwill of fans like Eamon Perry, Challenger John, dare I say Beer Man, Block Larry. They've lost the goodwill of fans like that who love professional wrestling, but they just don't love that type of professional wrestling.
Well, here it is. We've talked about this. I don't know that AEW was ever really good. I just think that WWE programming for so long was just so damn
terrible.
bad. It was
and
terrible.
We've said that. Yes.
So
they provided an alternative. They were an alternative using all the indie darlings that were out there that these kids would see in YouTube clips on the internet and occasionally at their local, at their local high school gyms or bingo halls. They would see these guys wrestle. Oh my God. Yeah.
I-32.
I-32. I-30 coming in. Will Ospreay. Bingo. Cowboy. And the next room, somebody screaming bingo. It's just the shits. So
275,000 people. They came off of a night with 688,000 watched their primetime show. They are outpacing the cable droppers by a landslide. It's not even close. I think it's like 16% higher in their lost viewership. By the way, compared to, I think it was 2 years ago, Raw is higher than it was 2 years ago. I believe I saw a stat on that by like 400,000 or something like that on average right now this year. So I understand that cable subscribers are leaving. People are going to watch good wrestling shows when they're out there. They're just going to continue to watch them. I'm looking forward to Monday night. Do you have anything else, Bottles, on this Sunday evening?
I've got the latest ratings. WWE SmackDown, not from Friday night, but from a week ago, 2.256 million. Yeah. NXT, 611,000. Raw, 1.814 million.
Yeah.
Collision, 422,000 from a week ago. Rampage from a week ago, 303,000. Dynamite, 680,000. So, they're all down. Everything's down from a year ago. On the AEW side, the WWE ratings are up. It's just, it's an ice cold promotion is what it is. Dead as a doornail. NXT's got a PLE tonight. NXT Heat Wave.
We'll see. I might check out a little bit of it. We'll see what's going on with this race real quick.
You've got North American Championship match. Wesley goes up against Oba Femi to get back the title that he never lost. Nathan Frazier and Axiom versus Andre Chase and Duke Hudson for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Women's North American Championship match, Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka, who they have very high hopes for both of these young ladies. Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice from the UFC.
I do know Roxanne Perez. I know that one.
Yes. You'll get to know Lola Vice because they're going to call her up very, very soon. I wouldn't be surprised SummerSlam she shows up. Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice for the NXT Women's Championship, and a fatal four-way match for the NXT Championship, the Men's Championship, that is. Ethan Page versus Trick Williams versus Sean Spears from AEW also versus Javon Evans, a young up-and-comer from the Indies. And then you have a kickoff match, also known as the Jimmy C81 match. JC Jane and Jasmine Nix and Carmen Petrovic and Ariana Grace are having a four-way.
All right, nope. They're having a four-way match.
That's what I said. They're having a four-way.
You dick.
That's what they're having.
I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. We will probably be back later this week, possibly Thursday, it looks like. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. Please like and subscribe. Give it that thumbs up. Josh Bottle's giving out sliders and jerkins, I see. Haven't even watched the match yet. Good God.
Time to get ready. Fire up the microwave, honey.
We'll be back later this week. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Bottles, take us home, pal.
Hang on a second. You kept me up. You caught me with my pants down, pal. I couldn't hit the solely button. I couldn't hit the solely button.
What were you thinking about the shower?
Damn it. What? The what? The solely button.
Did you have a shower moment this week?
Yes, I hit my solely button in the shower.
Until next week, Gordon Soley saying so long from the sunshine.